Hey Choice Seminar, here's a few more tips on how to complete exercise C since we ran out of time last night and I want you to do your best on this assignment. Start with Robert Koto's Google spreadsheet that was used in his report, and once again find the particular tab you're assigned to complete data for. And think about your job about trying to find the data that should be going in there. The Connecticut Open Data site is great because you've got school enrollment for those 2 different years. But I would say first, go to look to see if there's been any new schools of your type that were added on in those academic years that didn't exist in the original data set. The school directory is updated all the way to 2014, April 2014. And it's got a neat feature here. You'll see schools are often listed here. Here's a public charter school under organization type. But whether or not it's a magnet school, it's way over here on the other side of the screen with just yes or no's for interdistrict magnet. So since there's hundreds of schools in Connecticut, you can use the filter tool this way, just to identify the ones you want. If you're looking, for example, just magnet schools, you could say add a new filter condition where the drop down here, and this one here, interdistrict magnet, we'd like that to equal just the words YES, the way we saw it appear there. Let's see if this one works. And that's right, I filtered out only the interdistrict magnet schools. So that's a good filter. I also could filter only the vocational technical schools or only the ones that say charter schools over here under organization type. You have to type it in exactly as it appears for a filter to work. You also can export data, and I often want to get it out and maybe work with it in, say, Microsoft Excel before I get it into Google Spreadsheet. So this one here, XLSX, is the newest Microsoft Excel download format. When I've got that data downloaded, I can open it up in a spreadsheet program like Microsoft Office or LibreOffice, and I'll see what I downloaded here. This one here is just the interdistrict magnet schools that I filtered. I know that because they're all yeses here on this side. Let's say that you're confident now that you've got the right set of schools, any additional schools that have come online you've entered in, and now you're basically just trying to get data put in the right places. So if you were back over here and went to your data file, here I'll go to, let's see, this tab is 1213, so we'll go to 1213 here. Let's say you've gotten your data out, you've filtered it, you have exactly just the files you want, just the lines you're looking at. What you want to avoid doing here is you don't want to retype everything into the grid you have. The real goal is to basically, can you line up your spreadsheet so that what you'll have over here is going to match with what's over here, for instance. Let's go back to this one. Can you get your different spreadsheets lined up so people just basically copy and paste all the way over? And the way I would do this here is I'd be thinking about, okay, how can I make sure I'm using school names? May not be the best way to line this up here, but I've got lots of data, but they all here have these school codes and district codes. So I may actually want to sort by the district code and the school code. I can even sort it this way. I can say sort range. And I can say I want to sort by district code first. And then actually after that I want to sort by school code next. I'll do 2 of those things. And that's a way to line up so I've got district 15, school 37, and then the school. This is helpful if you've got schools that might have very similar names or the names are changing slightly over time. So that's a better way to sort things. You can sort similarly here. And then when you've got things sorted and excluded all the rows you don't need through deleting others, one way to get data in and be able to sort of like, once it's all lined up, you can just start with your first column here, and you could copy and paste directly in from one spreadsheet to the next. Just double checking and make sure you've got the rows aligned the same way. These are the racial categories: American Indian, Asian American, Black, White, Hispanic, Pacific Islander. You're trying to make sure that they're all lined up exactly the same way here. And at the beginning of that, total enrollment's over here, so you may have to be careful about how you copy and paste things in. If you've used Excel before, there's a neat function, if you're familiar with functions, that's called VLOOKUP. And that's a way to basically say, look at one spreadsheet and find matching data rows from another spreadsheet to copy those over. So that's an advanced tip if you want to try using that. When you move data in, watch out. In kinetic open data, many cells are suppressed if they're very small numbers. For example, over here you can see that the State Department of Ed doesn't mind telling you that there's 0 American Indian students at this particular school, but Asian American, it's got an asterisk, and that means it's a number between 1 and 5. For privacy reasons, they're not releasing the exact number. So that means that you and your partner have to decide how to deal with that information. If you just copy in the asterisk, what that means is you won't be able to do any math with it because asterisks don't work in calculations. You have to figure out how to deal with that issue and describe it in a note immediately below your data. Here's some fictitious data I just pasted in to show you an example of doing calculations. So, and actually I'm going to do the following. I'm going to put in a second and third row just so you could see the concept of what it would look like when you do things with multiple data. So pretend all these schools are very similar. They all have an enrollment of 100 and they all have these data points here. The state doesn't calculate minority students for you. You have to decide how that works. But the way to keep doing calculations in a spreadsheet is to hit an equal sign. And you could say something like, I want to add certain columns. You could actually click on columns, depending on the program you're using, and say, just click to add O2, and also hit a plus symbol here, and add this next one, add this next one, just pluses and the different codes. I'm skipping over white here. That wouldn't be counted as minority. And that's just a way of doing a simple addition formula, which gets that number in there. If you have to do a division, you're basically starting another formula, and you can say one number, such as number of minority students, divided by, here's the total enrollment, would give us a percentage, 0.70. If you're trying to use a spreadsheet efficiently, you don't want to redo every calculation every row. Instead, you can click on both of these here, and you could copy and paste the formula into another line, or even faster, you can click on both of these here and see that little right corner you can drag down to sort of drag that formula down to the other rows as well. Remember, when you're working on your assignment, you want to fill in the numbers, but also, and you want to make decisions and decide and explain how to deal with things like asterisks along the way, how you decide how to define minority along the way, and put these notes right below your data. And then at the very end, you want to compare what your spreadsheet tab says to Kodo and Fader's 2011-2012 table in their report, and look for any patterns you might be able to see. Write a couple sentences about this. You can go back and forth between what they have on the 11-12 sheet and look for some of their summary statements, say below each section. And you can go back and compare it to what you have on your particular tab. And you can certainly, right at the end down here, write in all your notes, write your sentences, just do each sentence or so in its own, start at its own cell. That way you can write your information here and we'll see it as sentences on your own spreadsheet. Thanks so much. Good luck with your assignment.